You know, I think the manga gods just had a soft spot in their heart this month because they just truly blessed me with a bounty. Hello, all of my otaku friends. My name is Profitaku, and welcome back to my channel for the September Manga Haul. We have a ton of ongoing series to go over, but I also picked up some unexpected new series and got a holy grail that I honestly thought I'd never get. Stay tuned. So before we get started with the manga today, I did want to show off some really unique, cool art books that I got for the collection. This first one is the Taiyo Matsumoto and Nikolai de Crécy art book. And so these guys are really good friends. So they came together and did like an interview type of thing, but also put together an art book. And it's got all of Nikolai de Crécy's stuff as well as Taiyo Matsumoto's stuff here in the front. Some really cool things that are not part of any of their series. So it's really cool to see. I actually picked this up in a trade on Reddit Manga Swap. I just traded the first 3 volumes of Heavenly Delusion because I'm a Taiyo Matsumoto simp. I'm so glad to have this in my collection. It's pretty hard to pick up, so I got a great deal on it. Next up here is the Blue Period art book. And for those of you who know Blue Period, you know, you've got painting, you have education, you have art. So of course the actual art book itself has to be something super special. Obviously I haven't opened it yet and I don't plan on opening it, but it's a really nice hardcover, and it's got those really beautiful pieces of art that were shown in the manga as well as some of the mangaka's own works as well. For those of you who are curious, I picked this up off of CD Japan via their proxy service, so they are a great reliable source to get things shipped from Japan to you at a great price. Last up here is a graphic novel, believe it or not. I know we're all manga readers, but hey, I dabble in the graphic novels sometimes. So right here are the first 5 volumes of Animal Castle. This is based off of George Orwell's Animal Farm. Think symbolism of communism and oppression and racism and just like taking advantage of people, but just done in a really palatable way with animals. So if you are a manga reader, I highly recommend you check this out. This was really cool. Such a great release too by A Blaze Publications. So yes. Graphic novels are starting to become a thing in my collection. All right, so let's get started with the manga. I'm gonna save the Holy Grail for last, so I highly recommend you stick around for that. But I do want to start with some used manga that I picked up for an insane price. First up is we have a series I never thought I would dabble in again because I watched the anime and I had huge problems with the pacing, so I ended up dropping it in the 2nd season. And that is Fruits Basket volumes 1 to 12 complete in these really nice collector's editions. Now with Fruits Basket, I don't have a problem with Fruits Basket. I think it's a really interesting series, and for a shoujo series and someone who doesn't read a lot of shoujo, I was really entertained. The big issue I had, like I said, was the pacing. It just felt so slow in the anime and I just got too bored. And I think that now that I have the manga, I can control the pacing and the speed in which I read this thing. So, and I just enjoy reading more in general. So I think that I'm gonna like this one. I got it for a great price off of eBay, like 43% off cover price, which is crazy for eBay. And this is basically in brand new condition. I couldn't be happier. If I don't like it, I can go ahead and pass this deal along to somebody else. But for right now, I am glad to have this. I also want to commend the release by Yen Press in these collector's editions. They're really nice. They come with the French flaps right here. It has some color pages here in the front. Really nice paper. The binding feels really good in these 2-in-1s. Overall, a great release and something that's just done right in terms of a collector's edition. So I want to preface this next series by kind of painting a picture, okay? So just imagine Profitaku. He's sitting on his couch and he's playing a poker app on his phone, playing some Texas Hold'em, and I'm just like, you know, I really have the urge to continue on with this gambling. And so I was like, well, what are some gambling manga out there? And then I remembered of a series called Kakegurui, and this is Kakegurui volumes 1 to 14 up to date. For those of you who don't know what this series is about, it's basically about an academy where there is a caste system and the student body is gambling with each other. If you get in severe debt, you become a house pet. You have the student council that oversees this gambling system, and the goal is to kind of compete against the elites of society to get get an upper hold on your future. I absolutely love the art. It's really, really cool. These covers are absolutely beautiful as well. These are in the oversized volumes by Yen Press. Now they're pretty expensive at $15 a volume, so you definitely want to find a good deal on these if you are interested in picking this up. There's also a sequel series called Kakaguri Twin, which follows one of the side characters, Mary Satome. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. But overall, this is a really, really cool series. Not a series I see a lot of people pick up, so I am definitely glad to have this in my collection. Volume 15 is getting released at the end of this year, and that will complete the series. All right, here we are with a Dark Horse title, a reprint because Omnibus 5 just came out. So I have volumes 1 to 3 of Kurosagi Corp's Delivery Service. Now, for those of you who don't know what this series is about, it's like a comedy horror manga about these people who help transport bodies and like move people onto the next life. I think that's the gist of it. I honestly am going into this completely blind. I actually went on Instagram. I said, look, this is getting reprinted by Dark Horse. Omnibus 5 is coming out. Is this worth picking up? And somebody messaged me on Instagram, was like, yeah, you gotta pick this up. So I went ahead, bit the bullet, got the first 3. Hopefully I'll read it for October for spooky Halloween season. Speaking of another incomplete series that I wish I could get my hands on more, at least more of it, I was able to get Yu-Gi-Oh! Volumes 9 to 13, I think, of the omnibuses. It basically goes from volumes 25 to 38. So I have the back half of the series. I don't have the front half yet. I do have volumes 1 to 3 in the first omnibus. Yu-Gi-Oh! Is a series that has shot up in popularity after the untimely death of the mangaka. Rest in peace. Grew up with Yu-Gi-Oh! Such a big part of my childhood. But yes, this manga is very hard to get a hold of. It is not out of print. It is out of stock. I went ahead and placed an order with Right Stuff. They sent me what they had. I will patiently wait for the reprints. Hopefully I get this. I heard the manga is just like super, super dark compared to the anime. So I'm super excited to see what all the hype is about. Okay, next up here is a manga series recommended to me by Suki Notes as well as Manga Man Chris. They're like, you know, Prof, this is kind of a series that's right up your alley. It is out of print. It's not too expensive. It's 9 volumes for this first season. And I was like, you know, the issue is trying to find a good condition printing of this because it's from Del Rey. I stumbled upon one on Manga Swap, super excited, and that is Genshiken volumes 1 to 9. For those of you who don't know what this series is about, this is basically a slice of life series that follows an otaku club at a high school. You've got these group of people who are just otakus, they're obsessed with anime, and it's just their daily life doing otaku things. Of course, that's like perfect for me. And well, all of you too. So definitely a series that I do recommend just based off what people have said. Like I said, the first 9 volumes compose of the first series or the first season, and this is released by Del Rey. Kodansha released the second season, so that's 12 volumes there, and that is also out of print. They printed it in an omnibus format as well as in the singles. I don't know if I'm ever going to find it. I actually heard that the second season takes kind of a nosedive, goes in a little bit of a different direction. Maybe not necessarily bad, but a different direction. They said that the first season, though, these volumes that I have here are phenomenal. So I'm super excited to have this, and hopefully I get to this series by the end of this year. Here we have a series from Shoujo Beat that is slowly getting reprinted, and I just found the first 5 volumes at my local Books A Million. I decided to pick it up based on the recommendations that many people had on my female mangaka video. I highly recommend you check that out. But right here, I have the first 5 volumes of Nana by Ai Yazawa. Now, this is the same mangaka who did Paradise Kiss, but this is a very dramatic thriller shoujo romance manga. It's got lots of things about fashion in it. I'm super excited to get into this, super critically acclaimed. I really don't know too much about it, to be honest with you, or Ai Yazawa's works. Yazawa. Come on, I can pronounce Japanese words. But I don't know much about her works, but I do know that she is very much loved in the shoujo community, and I am looking to expand my horizons in that genre, so I am excited to have these in my collection. All right, so we got one more stack of the more completed series, then we'll move on to the ongoing single releases. Here we have volumes 1, 2, 3 in an omnibus completed collection. It's called The Music of Marie, and this is by Usamura Furuya. I know nothing of this mangaka. I know nothing of this work. The only reason why I picked this up was because an Instagram fellow subscriber named of Studley Beethoven actually recommended this to me, and he said, "Prof, you have to pick this up. It's my favorite mangaka, one of my favorite mangas of all time. I'd love to do a buddy read with you on it." I was like, "Look, man, let's do it. Like, you convinced me. If you're gonna go out of your way to recommend this," and he actually sent me like a voice clip of him explaining why he loves this series. And I was like, "Look, dude, man, you don't gotta convince me. Like, I'll pick up anything." So I went ahead and picked this up. Super glad to have this in the collection. We plan to do a buddy read, I think either next month or in November. So man, I'm looking forward to this one. Next up here is another reprint from Dark Horse. Dark Horse, round of applause for the reprints, man. You guys are doing a great job with this. We have Eminon volumes 1 to 3. This is a canceled series, I think. I think Japan canceled it around the 4th volume. We never got the 4th volume in English, but we do have these first 3 volumes. And if my knowledge is correct, this follows a girl who I think either like can time travel or she like lives a long time, but this is like set in the 60s and it's just her going through life in the 60s. But yeah, it seems super interesting. The artwork looks really cool, and I heard that this is just a great manga to kind of just reflect on your life and just kind of what she has to go through seeing all these different people and all these different interactions. So super excited to have this one. And I also picked this up during the Dark Horse Right Stuff sale, so it was a great time to pick it up. Oh, I didn't pick this up during the Dark Horse. When did I pick this up? I don't know. I picked this up during a sale and I got it for a discounted price. This video is going to be a mess. Okay, and last up here for the completed or up-to-date series, we have The Savior's Book Cafe Story in Another World, volumes 1 to 3. I just did a first impressions on volume 1. I will leave a little card in the upper right hand corner. Highly recommend you check this out. This is an isekai manga about a girl in her early 30s. She loves books and she gets transported or isekai'd into this fantasy world, and she's like, "Look, I don't want to be a hero. I just want to run a little book cafe." And then there's stuff that happens, craziness. It's much better than you think it is. Okay, here we go. Next to me, I have literally three huge stacks of ongoing series. I just don't know what happened. Right Stuff decided to ship out or partial ship a bunch of orders. Super awesome for Right Stuff. I'm so glad they're doing this again. So now I have this huge collection of pre-orders. Okay, first up here is Phantom of the Idol Volume 2. This is a continuation off of Volume 1. If you'd like my first impressions on it, I did do a first impressions video. Leave a little card, magical manga recommendations, but it was a pretty okay Volume 1. It's basically a supernatural thing about a girl who is an idol, but she passed away, and this guy who doesn't want to be an idol, and they team up together to help become a really good idol pop duo with this other guy. So it's a lot of fun. It was a pretty okay first volume, so I decided to give it a one more volume try. Next up here we have Sasaki and Miyano Volume 6. This puts me up to date with the series. I have not read this yet. It was a boys love manga recommended to me because it doesn't have a lot of ecchi stuff in it, which is what I would rather gravitate towards with boys love manga. So this was recommended to me. Believe it or not, I exchanged this volume like literally 4 times with Amazon so I could get a clean copy, and now I finally do. Thank you, Amazon, for giving us free returns. Next up here is My Hero Academia Volume 32. Got this early. I have not read My Hero Academia. I've watched the anime through 5 seasons. I just decided to shift towards the manga with this one, and I'm glad I did. Eventually I'll get around to it. Here we have Black Clover Volume 30, probably one of my top 5 Shonen Jump manga series of all time. This is super fun. We are in an absolutely insane arc, like insane arc, and I thought the last arc was good, but this one is just absolutely crazy. Love the characters, love the magic system. The artwork is impeccable. You just can't go wrong with Black Clover. highly recommend, obviously. Okay, continuing on here, we have Spy Family Volume 8. We have the new season of Spy Family coming out literally tomorrow. I am going to watch it. Cannot wait to see the doggy. But yeah, obviously the manga is much farther ahead, and you know, it's Spy Family. I don't have to say anything about it, but I really do enjoy it. Probably one of my top 5 ongoing Shonen Jump manga series right now. Oh, and also, if you guys didn't know, Endo Sensei is actually publishing a new manga in English. I'll like leave the cover here and then the release date as well. But I heard that this is the series that they really enjoy writing compared to Spy Family. They actually don't really enjoy writing Spy Family, but they enjoy this series. Super excited to check it out. Next up here, we have the Heroic Legend of Arslan Volume 16. This is by Hiromu Arakawa. So she does the light novel transcription into the manga series. This is okay from what I've heard, not obviously as acclaimed as her other works, but you know, with her being the creator of Full Metal Alchemist as well as Silver Spoon, I was able to pick these up for a great price way back in the day when I got this at a used bookstore. So I'm gonna continue to pick this up and eventually read it. Here we have Yona of the Dawn Volume 5. You know, I just need to like read the first 3 volumes that I have just so I can just understand what the hype is about with Yona of the Dawn. Because if I just have one more person say, oh, Yona of the Dawn, Yona of the Dawn, I'm like literally gonna lose it. I heard this just checks all of the boxes for an action-packed shoujo. So yes, I will definitely be reading this hopefully by the end of this year. I just know that if I do, I'm gonna want to pick up all of it, and the reprints are so slow right now. Next up here is Mao Volume 7 by Rumiko Takahashi, one of my queens of manga. I love her works. Meisana Koku, her short story came in the Other Tales, her collection of short stories, but this is a supernatural work very similar to Inuyasha. Because horror spooky season is coming up, this might be a good chance for me to go ahead and just dive into this manga. I love that Rumiko Takahashi is like a Swiss Army knife. She just dabbles in so many different genres. A superstar queen in my book. Next up here is a severely underrated series. This is the Apothecary Diaries that is released by Square Enix. Really nice additions. This is a adaptation of a light novel, and it's one of the best adaptations out there. I love the main character girl. She's so smart, she's so strong, she's so independent. She is a girl who dabbles in medicine and poisons. She works for the Imperial Court to taste test, make sure there's no poison in the food, but she also has like her own little side business of just dabbling with medicines and stuff. It's really cool. Think Sherlock Holmes, think Moriarty the Patriot, but with history, ancient China. So yeah, it's really cool. Next up here is Bungo Stray Dogs Dead Apple Volume 1. This is the manga adaptation of the Bungo Stray Dogs film. Since I'm collecting all of the manga for Bungo Stray Dogs, this is just the next one in the collection. There's lots of side series for Bungo Stray Dogs. This is the newest one. So I think this is going to be a 3-volume adaptation. So this one's going to take a while to get out. I won't read it until I finish Bungo Stray Dogs and I get all of these manga. All right, continuing on here, we have Don't Toy With Me, Miss Nagatoro, Volume 12. Man, I am so glad that these are coming out at superstar speeds because Volume 11 was so good. The relationship is phenomenal now. If you had super bad hesitations because of the vibe from the first 2 volumes, you got to keep going. You just stay true to the course, and I promise you, you're going to be rewarded with an absolutely phenomenal series. Lots of fun. I really enjoy Nagatoro now. Yes, great rom-com. Next up is Blood on the Tracks, Volumes 9 and 11. I had to wait for Right Stuff to resend me Volume 9 because it just got absolutely destroyed, but now I have 3 volumes to read, 9, 10, and 11. Love Blood on the Tracks, probably my favorite Shuzo Oshimi work of all time, and I have to say the drama going on with Blood on the Tracks, Volume 8 ended with the sledgehammer, just like the big thing happened, and now we're into like, what is the repercussions of what happened in Volume 8? Oh, I just can't wait. All right, and here we have Magia Record, Puya Madoka Magica, another story. I got this because of Mommy. Mommy's on the cover and I have a Mommy scale figure. Look, I just love her to death. She's phenomenal in the main series. And this is a, oh God, how do I explain this one? This is a mess. This is a spin-off series, but this is a spin-off of the spin-off series, or like a different view into the side series. I don't even have the first side series, so this won't even make any sense. I just so yes, mommy, you will have to wait a little bit more for me to read you. I will pick up the other series and I will enjoy this one. Kind of going in a different direction here, we have Monotone Blue. This is a brand new release by 7 Seas, and this is by Nagabe, and this is the mangaka who did The Girl from the Other Side. So this series is a simple one. It's all done in one volume. You've got these two amphibians at a high school, and they develop this unsuspecting love, unsuspecting relationship. What I really like is the attention that 7 Seas is giving to this mangaka, very similar to like Taiyo Matsumoto or Rumiko Takahashi from Viz. It's nice to get their works out in English, and I can't wait to get a more complete collection of their stuff. Okay, here we have a total cover buy, and when I mean total cover buy, because this is not even on my anime list. You can't even like look it up or anything like that. This is a Chinese fantasy, The Dragon King's Daughter. I actually promoted this on Instagram because I just read this yesterday and it was a lot of fun. It's not gonna blow your mind or anything like that. Simple Chinese folk tales done in a manga format. It's not a manga that makes you like really think hard in terms of just like what is the lesson to be learned with this folktale, but nonetheless, it's really fun. A beautiful release by 7 Seas, and I know that they're going to be releasing more of these kind of short story collections based on Chinese folktales. So if they continue like looking like this, I'm definitely going to be picking these up. Here we have, I've been waiting for this one. This was also a cover by too. Dinosaur Sanctuary Volume 1. This is about a girl who starts her new career working as a dino keeper in Dino Land. This is basically like Jurassic Park slice of life. So if you're interested in that, then I highly recommend it. The artwork is really interesting, actually. You know, the face structure and like the face characters remind me a lot of, it reminds me a lot of Yokohama Kadashi Kiko. It's like old 90s style art, but then you get to the dinosaurs. Let's see if I can find it. Here's one with the dinosaur. You get to the dinosaurs and you're like, holy crap, this looks really good. This is done in conjunction with a dinosaur researcher, and so a lot of the things that are presented in this manga are like completely accurate to how dinosaurs actually were back in the day, just based on just hypothetical research and just extensive studies. So that's really cool. Here we have the coveted My Senpai is Annoying Volume 7. I totally forgot to order this manga and I just found it at Books A Million. They just did a restock, thank God. So I was able to pick this up. Now I can read 7 and 8 and then truly decide if I want to keep reading the series. It's kind of getting stale. I hope there's some progression in the next 2 volumes. If there is, I will continue to pick this up. I really like the full color aspect of it. It just really creates this immersion that you just don't see in manga nowadays. Next up here is Witch Hat Atelier Volume 1. I was just so sick and tired of people telling me about Witch Hat Atelier. And funny story about this, I actually have the first 3 volumes digitally on my computer. And so what I did, I actually teach Chinese students English as a second language, and so I used the first chapter of Witch Hat like as reading material, and so we read through it together, and then I was like, wow, this is like really good. Like I really want to pick this up physically. So I just decided to pick it up physically because I was using it as teaching material for my English class. Hey, you know what? It worked out. I got paid to read manga. Okay, after my phone just exploded and overheated, we are back after 30 minutes to try this again. Here we have Crossplay Love Otaku X Punk, new 7 Seas rom-com series about these 2 boys who like each other, but they cross-dress as girls at a maid cafe. That's where they meet up, and so they both think that the other person is a girl, but they're actually both boys. So it's super wholesome, super funny, and a total premise buy for me. Next up is Toilet Bound Hanako-kun Volume 16. Now I have 3 volumes of this I need to read. My Volume 16 came pretty severely damaged from Right Stuff, and I double ordered this volume. So looks like I'm gonna have 2 copies of this. I'll just go ahead and give it away, but I've spoken high praise of this on the channel. I don't need to say anything about it, but the artwork is definitely one of the top 5 artwork in all of manga. Next up is a new series that I really don't know anything about. This is Correspondence from the End of the Universe. This is a sci-fi comedy series and a beautiful release by 7 Seas. total cover buy. I like sci-fi, I like comedy, it just looks really cool, and that's why I got it. Here we have Dr. Stone Volume 23, and Dr. Stone Volume 22 was one of the biggest mic drops in Shonen Jump for me in my manga reading career. I love Dr. Stone, top 3 manga series of all time in terms of Shonen Jump, highly recommend. Next up here, we have Laid Back Camp Volume 12. So glad to have this volume. I love camping. I love the information they give in this. I love that we go through Japan. I think all the characters are super funny, and I just love this slice of life aspect. This is one of my most highly recommended slice of life series, definitely in my top 5. It's just so much fun. And here we have Chain Soldier Volume 1. I got this used for like $7. Great way for me to try it. I know nothing about it. I know it's an ecchi series. I know the artwork is great. This is by the same mangaka as Akame ga Kill. So that is a very highly acclaimed series. So I'll check this out. If I don't like it, not that much investment, I can move it on, no problem. Okay, continuing on here. I know there's so many. We have Maison Ikoku Volume 9 in the collector's edition. We have only one more till we're done here. This is an old rom-com from the 80s, a staple in the rom-com genre, and just really put this into the modern era. This is super fun. I like that the cast of characters are older, more relatable situations. Yes, there's a lot of misunderstanding and stuff like that, so it's a very frustrating series, but this is just one of my favorites, and it actually got me into Rumiko Takahashi, so highly recommend this one. Here we have Golden Kamuy Volume 27, one of my favorite seinen series of all time. We're getting into the nitty gritty. We have 31 volumes and then we're done. So this is it, but man, this is just such a great series. It has a little bit of everything in it, which for a lot of people, they don't like it. But for me personally, it's what makes this series a total gem. Next up is a light novel series. I've been waiting like almost a year. I think maybe over a year for this. There's no way a side character like me could be popular, right? And this is by Tentai Books. And, you know, it's a very small publisher actually from Spain or Portugal. And so this is really cool that we get these. This is my first or one of my first rom-com light novels. I don't know why, there's nothing special about this thing, but I just really like it. It's just super dry writing, so it's easy for me to follow, which is probably why I really enjoy reading this specific light novel compared to something like Snafu, which is just really heavy and dense, so I just get a little bit tired of reading it. Here we are with Tokyo Revengers Omnibus 3-4. I really enjoyed Volume 1, so I cannot wait to dive into Volume 2 and just see what happens with what we left off in Volume 1. I just think it's very well done. I think the story is super unique, is what's pulling me into this. Execution wise, artwork wise, you know, it's not the greatest thing in the world, but I do really like the characters, and I like the action and everything that's in here. So yes, Tokyo Revengers definitely living up to the hype so far, but I am wary. Next up here is Blue Lock Volume 2. Loved Volume 1. Soccer Battle Royale. Some of the most cool artwork in manga. The characters are super cool, and I'm just like super engaged in the story, which makes this just such an awesome series. Oh, and I just noticed there's a big ass dent on Volume 2, so that kind of sucks. All right, and here we are with Urusei Yatsura Volume 15. Volume 16 will be the last one. This is also by Rumiko Takahashi. This is her first work. This is a rom-com sci-fi series, and this is actually what put her into the spotlight. She won lots of rewards with this. And also what's really cool is that there's a new anime coming out this season, fall 2022. It's a remake or a reboot of the original series. So that's awesome that we get to see this series in the modern era, but I will stick with the manga. Next up is Beastars 20. No, I haven't read it yet. There's 2 more volumes. Volume 22 finishes it, then I'll read it. Here we go with Blue Period Volume 9. I just got Volume 8 last month, and I didn't even read it yet, so I'm gonna have double dip. I didn't like Volume 7 in the direction that it took, so hopefully Volumes 8 and 9 kind of help fix this, because I just really love this series. Next up here is Crazy Food Truck Volume 2. 3-volume series, and it's probably one of the most overhyped series that I've ever seen in recent memory. It's just okay for me personally from Volume 1. I said that the problems with this series were that it's just hitting the really shallow skim of this world. And with 3 volumes, we're just not going to be able to dive deep enough into this. But I'm just going to finish this out, and if I don't like it, I'll go ahead and sell it off. All right, we're close to the Holy Grail now. Next up here, we have a one-shot look back by Tatsuki Fujimoto, creator of Chainsaw Man. I heard that this is just a completely different vibe from his other series, and I like his other series. Not my favorite thing in the world because it's dark fantasy, but this is more of a more real life type of thing. So I'll be curious to see what this series is all about. I've heard very, very good things about this, as well as Goodbye Eerie. Next up here is Alice in Borderland Volume 3. I love this death game series. I just bought into it after the first volume. I was like, this is so sick. And you know what's super growing on me is actually the releases of this. The spines make a mural, which is super sick. And then what they did was they took the Japanese volumes, and then they have like the one normal one, and then they flipped the other Japanese volume here, and then they like put it as like a mirror type of thing. That's really cool, Viz. So kudos to you. But yes, this series is super underrated. If you went into this coming from Zom 100, which I absolutely hated, but definitely give this one a shot. Completely different vibe. Okay, here we have 3 volumes of Bungo Stray Dogs. We went over Dead Apple a little bit earlier. This is Bungo Stray Dogs Beast volumes 2 and 3, as well as Bungo Stray Dogs volume 14. So this puts me up to date with all of the main series and a couple of the side series. That's great. I am reading through volume 9 right now, so I'm almost halfway through the original series, and I'm very much enjoying it so far. Glad to have a complete collection of this. All right, here we go with Fist of the North Star volume 6 in the hardcover. I have not read this yet. I'm not buying any more of these. I gotta read it. I just gotta read it. I gotta see if I'm gonna like it. I'm very hesitant because I wasn't so much into wanting to start the JoJo's manga, and I know that this influenced the JoJo's manga a lot. Got a lot of old school art style, and it's kind of like big burly guys beating each other up. I mean, it's not my cup of tea right now, and that's something I really want to read right now, so I'll get around to it. Okay, next up here is A Silent Voice Complete Collector's Edition Volume 2. This completes the set for me, so this encases volumes 3.5 to 7. We were waiting so long for this, and I'm just so glad that we have it, and I have it in such great condition. I love these hardcovers. I think this is the way to collect Silent Voice for sure. There's a lot of extra stuff in here, some color pages, beautiful binding here as well. It's just such a great, beautiful looking edition. Feels great in the hands. This is a cherished manga, top 10 manga in my collection. And here we are with another big boy. We have Berserk volume 11. We are almost caught up on these hardcovers, which is really cool. I think we have like 2 or 3 more, and then we're all done. Once that is done, then I'll go ahead and read the whole series in one go. Okay, and here we are with the Holy Grail, the manga that I just couldn't imagine that I picked up, and that is Twin Spica, volumes 1 to 12 complete from Vertical. Now, I've been looking for this set for a long time, probably almost a whole year, and I found a listing on eBay for pretty severely damaged library copies for like under retail. And these are like the expensive volumes too. So volumes 10, volume 11, the ones that go for like $100, $150 a piece. And I was like, I have to buy this. I don't care if it's a library copy. I'm going to buy this thing. I did buy it. And then what I did was I took off all the stickers. It took me like 8 hours to do it all, but I took all the stickers off and then I sanded it down, so you can see that I sanded the stamp as much as I could, but I cleaned up the spines. I took off all the stuff with Goo Gone, and I'm left with readable, passable copies of Twin Spica at a phenomenal price. If you don't know what this series is about, it's basically about a girl who is trying to get this into this elite space academy and travel into space. For those of you who know me, know that my favorite manga series of all time is Space Brothers, and this has Space Brothers written all over it. This is one of Prom G's top 20 manga of all time, and I just cannot wait to get into this. It combines my 2 favorite elements in the whole world, which is space and sci-fi. I'm so glad to have this in my collection. I never ever thought I would get it. All right, and that is it for my September manga haul. Believe it or not, I am actually going on a buying ban in October. I am not buying any manga. Now, if I had any pre-orders that I had placed before, and if they do get shipped to me, yes, obviously I will accept those. But I am not actively looking to buy manga for the month of October, which is great. I think I need to put myself on a buying ban. I may even do that for November too, because I just got so many completed series this month and last month, and I just need to read. And I've been doing really well with my reading logs, but I just don't need to buy any more manga. I'm very content with how my collection looks. I have some series that I just really am glad to have picked up. I just don't need anymore. I don't have this like yearning in my like heart, like, oh, I need to buy this series. I mean, I just have exactly what I want right now. So yeah, buying ban is gonna be good for me. As always, if you enjoy my videos, please hit that like button, tap that subscribe button, hit that notification bell so you know when more of my videos come out, and I will see you in the next one. Take care now. Bye-bye.